So this is exciting. We are here with Dr. Robyn Walser, who is coming back to Dubai. Yay!
Yay!
Yay.
I'm very excited about it.
It's so cool. So last year in May, Robyn came and she gave 4 days of training, 2 days introduction to the ACT model, and then 2 days advanced ACT for trauma with clinicians. And this year, she's coming back for another 4 days. So again, an introduction and an advanced offering. And so we wanted to have a chat with Robyn all about what that's going to be about and hopefully get a lot of people to come join us. So, Robyn, for those who don't know you, do you want to just tell us a little bit about your background, where you're coming from, your context, and let us know about you?
So I'm Robyn Walser, and I've been working with acceptance and commitment therapy for about 30 years. I was trained by Dr. Stephen Hayes, and I've been focusing on trauma, but treat all kinds of folks. Trauma has been my specialty, and I've been applying ACT in the context of trauma for a very long time, and have been interested in understanding people's emotions and thoughts in context, and wanting to support them in building meaningful and vital lives. And so that's been my work over the last 30 or so years.
Awesome. And you've written a few books too, right? How many books have you written to date, Robyn?
It's 7 at this point. And yeah, I know that's kind of wild, isn't it? And co-authored, as the not always by myself, just one by myself, which is The Heart of ACT. And then I am currently writing 2 other books, and so I'm pretty excited about those. One on self-help for ACT and PTSD, and another one that is a focus on how to learn the skills in it.
Oh, wow. Amazing. So that's great. So last year when you came out here, you worked with, there was about 70 people that came to the trainings over the 4 days. So we had everyone from clinicians, psychologists, we had coaches, we had school teachers and school counselors, we had some medics. So it was a really lovely broad range of helping profession community. What were some of the main impactful things for you from last year's experience of coming to Dubai and doing this training?
Well, just hands down, it was a lovely group of people, and folks were very interested and attentive and asking challenging and thoughtful questions, which I thought were really, really good. And I just got a really warm and connected feeling inside of this space of learning about ACT, and which is exactly what we want to create, right? A place where people can come and dive into the model and the experience, and really not just take something for their clients, but take something for themselves as well. And it felt like we got to that space, and folks with, lots of interest and self-awareness, and it was really great.
Yeah, that was
Dubai is fun, by the way, too. I should just say I had a lovely time in Dubai.
super fun. I mean, that was what I got as well. Like it felt really like a community, and there was a lot of great sharing that happened. And then afterwards, a lot of people gave me great feedback about how they felt during the trainings, how they felt really enlivened and enriched. And then, of course, since then, you've had supervision groups form online, haven't you, where you're still supporting clinicians here in Dubai in that way, which is really cool.
Yeah, no, I think there's been about 8 or so people who followed up, others who wanted to come, but the timing just didn't work. And we've been doing deep dives into clinical cases and helping people approach and conceptualize from an ACT-based perspective.
Amazing. That's really great. So, we've been talking about like designing this year's training. And so last year, we did the introductory 2 days, introduction to the ACT model, really opening that up across the spectrum of the helping professions. And that was really great, and still something which we wanted to offer this year. It's because it really grounds people in that approach. And is a great opportunity for them to workshop skills and ask questions and really understand it properly. And then we've been discussing about what focus to take for the advanced training this year. And one of the things we've been discussing is those top questions that you often get asked about, how do you know to do that? Like, how do you know how to work these processes in the room and what interventions to take and when and how? So the nitty gritty of the how to in the clinical setting. And so that's why we came up with this year's advanced title, which is the how-tos of Advanced Clinical Act in the context of trauma in a rapidly changing world. So we're really happy with what that 2 days is going to be. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about what you're going to go into?
Yeah, so you've hit the nail on the head in the way here is like this question occurs over and over again, like, how did you know to do that at that point in time? Or why didn't you do this other thing? Why didn't you go this direction? I would have thought to go here rather than here. And so I've sort of been compiling a list of things that I'm attending to and assessing that help me to sort of make the decision, I'm going to go this direction in the model, I'm going to use this process, or I'm going to bring these processes together and see where we land when I'm working with a client. And I want to introduce folks in the workshop to these different aspects that we'll be paying attention to, demonstrating them, asking questions about them, really doing like slow motion, then this happened, then this happened, then this happened, so people can see what's happening in those spaces, that how to. And then of course we'll give them the opportunity to practice it themselves and get some feedback and explore how it's going in the context of trauma. So we'll be talking about trauma clients and the impact of trauma on self and how trauma might make you or lead you to do a different move than a non-trauma case. So we'll explore some of that kind of territory as well.
That's great. Like, do you think that there'll be room to explore a little bit about the effects of working with trauma clients on clinicians, like the vicarious traumatization that we're carrying as part of our need for self-care?
Well, so whenever I'm doing a workshop like this, including the intro that we're going to do, we want to learn from the inside out. So people will be exploring some of this material in terms of their own relationship with emotion and thought. But in the advanced space, I also want to look at the inner behavioral field, so to speak, between you and your client. And what that means is you're there as a full, live, present human being who is hearing how other people suffering, and maybe even hearing stories that are really challenging, really painful, maybe even not believable sometimes, because it's a disbelief about how can humans behave this way, not that you're not believing the client, right? And when you hear those things over and over again, it can take a toll if you're not doing things to take care of yourself. So there's vicarious traumatization, right, where you're having symptoms and reactions to that are about what you're hearing. There's secondary traumatization, which is you basically get PTSD from hearing those stories, and then there's burnout. And all of and compassion fatigue is another area that, where they're slightly different, each one of these four, and have different qualities to them. And so we'll explore those in the context of acceptance and commitment therapy, and how I think if you're living these processes well in your own life, you actually protect yourself from some of these experiences. So I want to help us engage in some exploration and self-reflection on that, and then also do some experiential exercises and other work that can help clinicians look at what it means to observe your own experience when it's actually something that's been shared with you from the outset. And so but we can explore all of that so that clinicians can get a sense of it and maybe even know, and as a values-based move, when it's time to take a break, when it's time to talk to somebody, when it's time to get supervision, when it's time to like wind down just a little bit. And as we were talking about the title for this, like doing things like preventing compassion fatigue, vicarious traumatization, secondary traumatic stress burnout, like we're in a context where it feels like clinicians don't have time to like address those kinds of things. And because there's so much coming our way in the world right now around trauma related issues, and there's more coming. So in order to serve others, I think we need to be prepared and be able to serve ourselves as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I love. I love many things about ACT, but that you're engaging in these processes, that it's inside out, that it's that you're connected to the sense of your own humanity, like I think that is protective. And I think it's also what brings the authenticity into the space and that congruence that really helps things emerge. But I also love how getting real like this in a training where we're not just about the didactic learning, but we're really experientially learning with you, it just helps really create a sense of community amongst, helping professionals of all different sorts, so I love all of that. That sounds like it's going to be so great. So you're going to come in June this year, and the dates are all below in this video. Okay, well, we can't wait to have you here, Robyn, and it's going to be great. I know it's going to be great. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. When I'm enjoying what's happening in a training, you can just get the feel that others are sort of coming in on that space. Makes sense, right? If I'm not enjoying myself, then probably is not going too well. And I just think that we have the setup and everything ready to go in such a way that you guys were so terrific that we will recreate that space again.
Yeah, can't wait.
So I'm very happy to invite you all to come to the Introductory to Acceptance and Commitment Therapy workshop. It'll be 2 days in June, and it'll be a terrific opportunity to learn the fundamentals of ACT, starting from like the model, theory, the philosophical underpinnings, and then moving right into what are the core processes that are at play in creating psychological flexibility, a harbinger of health. And so we want to invite you, come along if you're interested. It's an experiential workshop. It should be both fun, moving, and help you connect with a community who cares about this kind of work, where you're helping clients open up and experience their emotional self, their thinking selves, their sensing selves, while also becoming aware and conscious of their experience and making choices about moving forward in their lives that are important and create meaning.
So for clinicians and providers of mental health services here in Dubai and the region, we have the Advanced ACT training as well in June. And this is going to be the how-tos of clinical ACT, working in the context of trauma in a rapidly changing world. So it's a 2-day workshop with Dr. Robyn Walser. So Robyn, do you want to tell us what we'll be doing in this workshop?
Yes, absolutely. So first, I want to invite folks to come. I think they'll really learn some new skills and start to understand ACT and its functional and contextual approach at a deeper level. So if you're interested in knowing like what move to make when from a process-based perspective, using the 6 core processes of ACT, we're going to take time to slow that process down and really help folks connect to what that means to do that work. We're going to tackle challenging cases using the same approach, and we'll invite you to bring your personal challenges as well as work on issues related to how to respond as the clinician to the client in front of you, and how to help yourself when you're in a space of hearing very painful stories. So the context of trauma will be threaded throughout the workshop, and we'll be looking at how that is unfolding in a world where there's a lot of uncertainty. Things are moving at a very quick pace, and we're facing some of the greatest challenges that we as human beings will be facing. And so what will that mean for us as clinicians moving forward, and how to assist others while also staying healthy ourselves, because we're in the same context, right? And these things are impacting us as well. So we'll sort of work across the spectrum of building skill and looking at minutia to help people get into those details so they can be more, line up even more in a consistent and coherent way. And then look at how to help you in these places where we're taking care of you in an uncertain time.
Amazing. That sounds like a really great next step from last year's advanced training. So for people who came to last year's advanced training, where we looked at ACT through the through the lens of trauma, and did a lot of experiential work on building those skills, this sounds like a really great next step. And then for those who didn't make it last year, it also sounds like they'd be absolutely fine to dive in at this level, yeah, if they're clinicians working with clients.
Absolutely.
Right?
So
Yeah.
if you came last year, you should certainly come. I think that you will walk away feeling like you learned more, and that you feel like a richer relationship with ACT and what you're doing in the work. And for those of you who are interested in coming but didn't make it last year but attended the intro, or you're going to attend this time, you absolutely should come. Like, I wouldn't say to yourself something like, oh, I didn't get this thing, so I'm not going to come because it won't match for me. Like, wherever you start is a good place to start, and things to be learned in that space.
Oh, that's beautiful. I can't wait. So we will see you in June, Robyn.
I look forward to being there in June.
Okay, thanks so much.